In this video, we're going to look at using the quadratic formula. Now, to use the quadratic formula, the problem has to be in standard form. And as you can see in this problem, it is not in standard form. It's also not equal to 0. So I need to move the 15x over from this side over to this side. Now, I'm also going to rewrite this problem so it's in perfect standard form, which means the x squared term needs to be first. So I'm going to have the negative 4x squared first. Then I'm going to have minus 8x, which is the 7x minus 15x, minus 4 equals 0. Now that it's in standard form, I can go through and do out the work. I need a, b, and c. So a is negative 4, b is negative 8, and c is negative 4. We're going to do the part we're going to do first is actually using the discriminant, which is the b squared minus 4ac. We're going to do that part first. So this way I can figure out if I'm going to have 0 solutions, 1 solution, or 2 solutions, which might make doing the actual whole quadratic formula a little bit easier. So in this case, I got negative 8 squared minus 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 8 squared, 64. Now, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Positive 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. We subtract those and we get 0. Now, this is important because if this is 0, that means I only have one solution. Because when I take the square root of 0, it gives me plus or minus 0, which really isn't going to help do much at all to my problem, because positive 0 and negative 0 give you the exact same thing. So now let's look at the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we've already done this square root piece. So really all I have left to do is the negative 8 plus or minus 0 all over 2 times negative 4. So 2 negatives make a positive, so I have an 8 on the top. I have a negative 8 on the bottom, and plus or minus 0 I don't have to worry about. So my answer is negative 1. So in this problem, my answer is x equals negative 1. So we'll select that answer and click check answer, and it is the correct answer. This problem, we're going to do the quadratic formula again, and notice the problem is not in standard form again, so I need to move this negative x over, so I'm going to add x to both sides. This changes the problem to 7x squared plus 7x minus 3 equals 0. So I pull out my a is 7, b is 7, and c is negative 3. So again, I'm going to do the discriminant first, which is the b squared minus 4ac. So I get 7 squared minus 4 times 7 times negative 3. 7 squared is 49. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Negative 28 times negative 3 is 84. So I'm going to add 84. So 49 plus 84 is 133. So I have the square root of 133. Now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that goes into the square root of 133. So I'm going to leave the square root of 133 there at that point. Plus, because I see it as one of my possible answers here, so let's look at the rest of the problem and see if that actually comes out to be the answer. So I'm going to do my quadratic formula. So it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals negative, b is 7, plus or minus the square root of 133 all over 2 times a, which is 7. So when I simplify this down, negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 133 over 14. That is one of the answers there. So we'll select that answer and hit check answer, and that is the correct answer. In this example, you'll notice that the problem is actually equal to 0 and in standard form, so I don't have to do anything to that. So I'll be able to just pull out the a, which is negative 8, the b, which is 6, and the c, which is 8. So now I'm going to do the discriminant first. So the b squared minus 4ac. So I have 6 squared minus 4 times negative 8 times 8. 6 squared is 36. Negative 4 times negative 8 is positive 32. Positive 32 times a positive 8 is going to give you 256. We're then going to add those two numbers together. So 256 plus 36 is 292. Now, 292 I can divide. I can break this down. I know 2 can go into it because it ends in a 2, so I know it's even. And when I do a 2 into it, I get 146. Now again, 146 is even, so I know I can divide it by 2. When I divide it by 2 again, I get 73. Now 73 is not even, so I know I can't divide it by 2. 3 doesn't go into it, 5 doesn't go into it. So I'm pretty confident that I'm going to stay with this breakdown right here. So I have a 2 times 2 times 73. So I have the pair of 2's, so this becomes plus or minus 2 square root of 73. Now, we're going to do the quadratic formula. So I have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now I have x equals negative 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 73 all over 2 times negative 8. So when I simplify this, I get negative 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 73 over negative 16. Now, if you notice the 6, the 2, and the 16, I can divide all those by number 2. So let's take those all and divide it by 2. So in this case, if I divided it by 2, I'd get x equals negative 3 plus or minus square root of 73, because I'm only dividing the 2, not the 73, all over negative 8. And that answer is there, so let's take that as my answer. Check answer. That is the correct answer. This problem is another one that is not solved for 0. It's not in standard form, so I have to get this in standard form before I can do the problem. So I'm going to subtract the 11x squared from both sides. So I'm going to rewrite this problem as negative 2x squared plus 6x minus 2 equals 0, because 9x squared minus 11x squared is negative 2. So now I have a is negative 2, b is 6, and c is negative 2. So we'll do the quadratic formula by doing the discriminant first. So b squared minus 4ac. So I have 6 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times negative 2. So 6 squared is 36. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8 times negative 2 is negative 16, which this comes out to be the 20. 36 minus 16 is 20. So the square root of 20, I could break that up into 10 and 2, 5 and 2. So I have 2 times 2 times 5. 2's pair up. So this is plus or minus 2 square root of 5. Now, let's do the other part of the formula, the whole thing. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals negative 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 5 all over 2 times negative 2. So I have negative 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 5 all over negative 2. Oh, not negative 2, sorry. That is a negative 4. So now I notice the negative 6, the 2, and the negative 4 can all be divided by 2, because that's not one of the answers there. So let's divide them all by 2 and see what we get. I get negative 3 plus or minus square root of 5. Remember again, we don't divide the 5, just the number in front, all over negative 2. That's why I was jumping ahead when I said the negative 2 in the first part. So I have negative 3 plus or minus square root of 5 over negative 2. Now, is that answer one of the answers there? Yes, it is. It is that answer right there. So we'll hit check answer, and that's the correct answer. This video, this one's already solved for in standard form. So all I need to do is find my a, b, and c. So a is 6, b is 10, and c is 4. Now I'm going to do my discriminant. So I have the b squared minus 4ac. So I get 10 squared minus 4 times 6 times 4. So 10 squared is 100. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. Negative 24 times 4 is 96. So minus 96. 100 minus 96 is 4. Do the square root of 4. This one comes out to be plus or minus 2. So sometimes we do get a whole number there. That's good because that means we're going to get two solutions and we'll be able to actually come up with the exact solution for both those. So now we do the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals negative 10 plus or minus 2 all over 2 times 6. So I have negative 10 plus or minus 2 over 12. Now I have to do both these possible solutions. So I do negative 10 plus 2, get negative 8 divided by 6, or divided by 12. Go both 8 and 12 would be 4. So I have a negative 2 over 3. Then my other one is negative 10 minus 2, which is negative 12, divided by 12. In this case, it's negative 1. We see one of the answers is x equals negative 2/3 and negative 1. That would be my solution for this problem. And then I hit check answer, and that's the answer.